Hey guys, welcome back to a Q&A. I just wanted everyone to get their questions answered and asked.
Hola.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi. How are you?
Good.
You don't have any boxes in here for the fourth floor, right?
For fourth floor, no. See you later. All right, guys, let's get this show on the road. Thank you all for joining in. Hey, what's up, Noob? How you guys are doing? Let me know how your day is going. All right, guys, so like I was saying before, I wanted to have a little chat with you all about regionals, preparation for tournaments. There's a lot of state championships coming up, so I want everyone who's involved right now to ask questions in regards to, what they feel they need to prep up on. If there's anything you want to learn how to get better at, just let me know. It was a pleasure meeting all of you guys at these regionals, at the VA regional. I met a lot of yous, and it was so cool. It's really nice to actually see people, approach me and, let me know that I'm helping them in one way or another, or they just enjoy watching the content, shit talking, whatever you're into, right? But I'm gonna start going down the list and answering questions. So just start typing them up. So hey, what's up, Giovanni? What is up, boy? Shiny Gamer, what's up? All right, just made a red-green Android deck. That's great, very good. Red-green Androids, they're strong. But the one thing I do have to let you know is that Sensu Bean is super crucial, and not having access to it puts you at a disadvantage against most decks. But don't fret, just make sure you side the blue and make sure you just side the blue portion of it. Hey, hello, how's it going? All right.
Good.
Thanks, man.
All right, later.
All right. But yeah, so like I was saying, overall, right now, you just want to make sure that when you are designing any deck, you want to incorporate a lot of the cards that help you against the format. So like right now, we already have an idea after all these past regionals, and of course with these upcoming sets, like this new set, this little small set coming out, it probably already came out if I'm not mistaken. You just want to make sure that you're prepared for this meta, because blue is pretty much one of the best answers to combat a lot of red, and we're gonna end up seeing a lot of these overwhelm cards like really impacting this format. So you want to make sure that you have your deck, whatever deck you're designing, is well equipped for that type of matchup. But going down the questions, thank you, Noob. It was nice to get third place in the seating department. I fell short when it came to top 32 the following day. I had a good game with my opponent, and I'm happy that he actually took third place in day 2. That made me feel relieved, because I'm not a fan of losing by a luck factor, but it does happen. Any card game you play, there's always a luck factor where your opponent doesn't have an out, and then they just draw into it and they continually top deck into answers. But it's still it's still good that you're able to incorporate your skill and luck, and that makes your gameplay enhanced. But moving down, I didn't get the chance to tell you this at Richmond, but congrats, my dude. No problem, bro. Team Death Note, you guys are cool. I enjoyed doing the video with you. I actually saw it, so it was cool to see clips of the event. If you guys haven't checked out that channel, Team Death Note. They do some Dragon Ball content, and they kind of give you a sense of like direction, like a journey, you know, where you're watching their videos, you get to see a lot of the personalities and a lot of the people that attend these events. So it's pretty nice. But yeah, guys, ask away, ask questions away. You know, it's going to be more geared for regionals and prepping up. So definitely, you know, any tournaments that are coming up in your local area, or, you know, championships again, definitely, you know, post down questions. If you want to know the experience, if you've never been to a regional before, I can let you know. You know, it's pretty hard to be sitting in a room with a bunch of people and not much food or things that, you know, you necessarily may need, like water and just like breaks in between. You don't get much of that, so kind of sucks, but everything else is pretty cool. You know, the experience is definitely worth it. It's just you have to get used to that atmosphere. Just finished my exams finally. I can stay for the whole live stream. Oh, that's cool. How was it? What was your exam about, Shiny Gamer? All right, YouTube is getting hard for small channels. Good luck. Thank you, Brandon, Tilly. I like it to help support you. I'm a YouTuber. Let me just cancel. Okay, I'm a YouTuber. I like it to support you. I do funny VR gaming, have green screen cam mic and everything. It's pretty funny, bro, no joke. Sounds like fun. Definitely sounds fun, and thank you. That means a lot. So let's just scroll down. Eddie Alejandro, what kind of job do I have? I am a doorman. My position is called concierge. Just wait one moment, I believe someone's coming out. But yeah, I'm a concierge, and I'm able to do videos and, you know, do a few extra curriculum activities on my downtime, because I'm servicing people that live in this area. But for the most part, you know, everyone's doing their own thing. You know, unless there's something major happening, I don't have to give too much attention to my occupation, if that makes any sense. Curious as you're able to stream. Young Badman, what's up? I just messaged you about my deck. How do you use Kaba in your cell deck? Okay, so Kaba, I utilize him as an awakening tool and to put pressure when I feel like I have game on my opponent. There's multiple ways to utilize cards like that. You just gotta make sure that you're in a position where he's going to help you and not help your opponent. Kaba is an amazing card. He's extremely powerful, very strong, but the downside to him is that he can help your opponent gain resources. And kind of like what I gave you guys before when I spoke about resource management, you want to make sure that you are taking advantage of your game state and making sure that your opponent is not shifting power. You know, you're not helping your opponent do stuff. Hi, hey, how's it going? Good, 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 good. Just wait one moment, guys. I'm gonna continue answering the questions. I believe someone has a delivery. Or not in this building, apparently. Okay, so moving forward. Let's see, what was your matchups at the last regional? Hey, what's up, Oscar? What is up, boy? All right, so my matchups at the last regional, I played primarily against Mecha Frieza, I played against Starter Goku, and a few random matchups. Like I had a Broly matchup, which I'm actually going to post a deck profile about it because it was very interesting to see a deck that normally wouldn't do so well. It actually did pretty good. I believe the final standings for it was like either 5-4 or 6-3, you know, in a 9-round event. So that was pretty impressive. Overall, I played against, Starter Goku and Mecha Frieza. It was basically just a bunch of them at the event. So overall, not too shabby. And against one Androids, I played with the Cell Chain, you know, which is a very powerful deck, but I already have learned how to play against it. It's just that it does give me my hardest matchup, not gonna lie. The cell chain has always been one of my hardest matchups overall because of the design of my cell deck. It's a deck that explodes and is able to keep up with my opponent, and I'm able to gain resources as the game progresses. Hi.
Hi.
So, like I was saying, you know, that's the design of my deck. I'm able to deliver a lot of combo power, so it kind of puts me up in an edge because I have cards that refill my hand, like Vegito Save the Day, Kale. When I utilize cards like that, I don't have to worry about keeping up with my opponent. My opponent has to worry about keeping up with me, and that's the design of the deck. If you guys haven't seen it, you can check out the last video I posted, which is the deck profile of it, and it's phenomenal deck. It's very strong, but it does have one bad matchup, which is the cell chain. As long as your life is high, which if you look at my sideboard is actually very geared for that one matchup. But moving forward, thanks for asking that question, Oscar. Chemistry, shiny game. Oh, okay, chemistry. Anything in particular about that field? Because I mean, I've taken that course in like high school. That's the last time I remember it. Hey, good seeing you at Richmond. It was great seeing you all. Was wondering how you plan to make changes to your deck based on the new cards that came out today. Well, for one, like I was discussing with a few friends of mine, I'm not going to do tricolor anymore with Cell. The tricolor Cell deck is going to change because it will be tricolor, but I don't consider the Overwhelm cards, I don't consider that a color. They're colorless actually, so it's basically a dual, my deck is gonna become a dual color deck with support of the Overwhelm cards, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna have a discussion more about it in future videos coming up that kind of explains how you utilize the Cell leader in order to really gain a nice discard pile while still controlling the board and being able to put even more pressure on your opponent. That's gonna be my deck. I don't know if I'm going to take that for the next regional, but I'm going to test it out thoroughly before I make any decisions. I got to make sure that I really try my best to have a deck that I feel like that can beat all decks. And I know that may not be the case in this format, but I'm trying to get closer to like that one deck that stands out, you know? So that's my goal for this format, or this upcoming format, since it's going to actually change with the Overwhelm cards. Okay. What's up, Angry Tuna 123? When you trying to get scrubbed up at Naruto and DBS? I mean, anytime, boy. Again, you know, I welcome challenges. If any of you guys think you could beat me, you know, we could definitely do some money matches. I don't even mind doing it for fun if you live around the area. But if you don't live around the area, you best believe it's going to be a money match, or, you know, something worth our time, you know. Moving forward, we want Consequence. Ooh, that's a cool name. I like that. Anthony, what do I take to Toledo, BG Androids, or Red BG Cell? Well, I'm going to be impartial. I'm going to say Red, Blue, Green Cell. If you can look at my deck profile and take something similar, practice with it. It's very rewarding. The deck is extremely rewarding. It gains advantage very quickly. You know, like I said, in Swiss, I was killing it. I only had one loss in Swiss, which was to a red-blue Vegeta deck created by Marcel. But other than that, all my matches, I only went up to game 3 one time in the entire event, and I won it. So never dropped the game. It was great. You know, overall, really solid experience. So the deck, it will reward you for playing correctly, but you have to be comfortable. Like I had my teammate Eric Hill, he actually joined the 1K event the following day, and he just like made the same list, and he didn't do so hot. He lost like 3 or 4 games. It's because he's a great player, he's a good player, but he didn't understand how to really work the Cell deck. You know, the Cell deck takes skill, and it takes an understanding of what to play, when to play it, if that makes any sense. So I could give a breakdown if any of you guys privately, you know, want to take the deck, maybe a slight alteration of it. Definitely hit me up on Facebook so I can kind of tell you more scenarios of how to play the deck, if that would help. But moving forward, which of the new black cards would you use and which deck would you put these cards in? There's actually a lot of decks that I would put these cards in, and my favorite are pretty much what the community believes is the best is Trunks and Bardock. Those to me are the most effective. You have a Bardock that's basically a Kale, a lesser version of Kale, and then you have Trunks, which is the best filter card in the game right now. He literally allows you to look at 2 cards and select one and add it to your hand, and then the other card goes on the top or bottom, which is super effective because if it's a card I don't need, it goes straight to the bottom. If it's a card I need, I keep it on top, and I can use any draw card. Let's say I drew into a Majin Buu, I can literally put the Majin Buu on top, put it to my hand, put the other card on top, play Majin Buu, draw it. You get what I'm saying? It's more setup savvy. So that's what I enjoy about this format with these type of cards in it. Moving forward. Train me again, senpai. Definitely, Oscar. I mean, anytime you want to meet up, let me know. You know, that goes for all of you guys too. If you live in the New York area or you're visiting family, you know, hit me up. Let me know. Like, hey, Aunt, you know, I want to practice for a regional. I want to just practice to get better at the game. Any chance I can meet up with you? I do meetups. You know, I was doing them in the past. I did like workshops. They didn't work out the way I wanted them to. I only had about 5 to 6 people at most show up, and I had only like 2 workshops ever. But you know, I'm willing to meet up casually if you guys want to just get better at the game. If you need some tips, tricks, or whatever, it's better in person to play instead of Octagon or, you know, just talking online. I mean, if that works for you, sure, but you know, the experience in person, you can actually play me and understand the game and understand what you need to improve on as a player, if that makes more sense. Moving forward, it's Levi, nigga. What's up, boy? It's been a while. It's been a while. Oh, I know I can't. Okay, Levi. You know, I'm gonna be taking your money, boy. I'm just letting you know that in advance. Yeah, hilarious, boy. Get hyped, my dude. How's it going, man? What's up, Ryan? It's going very good. I mean, overall, my finishing in the last ARG event wasn't what I wanted, but I did very well in Swiss rounds, and you know, top 32. I kind of got luck sacked towards the last game, so it is what it is. But I still had fun, and it was still a competitive game. And my opponent was good, and he made it up to 3rd place, so I felt good about that. I'm going to San Jose. See you there, of course, bro. Levi, just try not to get scooped up before we play, boy. Going to Toledo. Ryan, I hope I can. I don't know for sure because Friday, which tomorrow, my boss didn't schedule, he didn't take me off the schedule. And what that means is that if no one can cover my shift tomorrow, I can't go because I'm literally working from 3 to 11 and I would need to take a flight way before then. So hopefully I can, please, you know, hopefully, you know, something comes up and some of my workers pull through. But if they don't, it's not gonna look good for me, put it that way. You better smash that event so I can make a video about you. I know, Ryan, I know, bro, I know. I'm gonna, the next event I go to for sure, I'm gonna really, you know, I'm gonna try my best. Like, it sucks. It sucks sometimes because when you're making the right plays and you're doing your thing, it doesn't mean that you're gonna win your match. And I tell players this all the time. You wanna play very well and avoid misplaying and make sure that you play to the best capacity that your deck can perform in. But that doesn't mean you will win your match, you know, and that's something that players need to understand, that when you make misplays, you give your opponent a chance to beat you. But even if you make the best plays, it doesn't mean that you will win. It just increases your odds of winning, if that makes more sense. So my plays were pretty sharp during my match. And I was forced to make a play that I didn't want to during time, but so did my opponent. So I felt like we were both in that scenario. The only difference was he was in a top decking scenario and I wasn't. You know, had I top decked, I would have won flawlessly that last match because I was already ahead. But I didn't. I just had to play with what I had. And with him, he top decked to just edge me over. So, you know, again, it was a great game between me and him. It's just sometimes you don't, you know, luck can reward you. And he's good enough. My opponent was definitely good enough that he could have potentially taken the whole event. He was a good player, so that's something that I enjoyed, and I was rooting for him. You don't know how much I was rooting for my opponent. I was like, yo, you beat me, bro. You better like win this shit. So that ass, like, it was just so crazy. But moving forward, Levi, how do you think mono blue with the black engine will be in this format? Strong. I mean, if you go mono with any deck, the black engine is gonna just enhance it, because the problem with doing dual side or tricolor decks at this point with trying to incorporate the black cards in it is that you got to realize that's another color, so to speak. They're colorless, but they don't attribute to the main colors you're focusing on. So if you're playing red, blue, green, they don't contribute to none of those colors. So it becomes a quad deck essentially, and that's too hard to pull off right now in this game. Now when they have more cards that come out that only cost one, like one of each color, you'll be able to effectively utilize cards like that better. But very good. It just depends on your leader, Levi, honestly. Moving forward, where do I work? Graph 1X. I work in Manhattan, Manhattan, New York, and essentially it's like I said before, I work as a doorman. The little fancy word for it is concierge. Doesn't make my pay higher though, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, moving forward, sticking with Cell. I think Cell is strong, even if it gets Bloodlust at 30k. Double Strike Beater is still great, especially with red support and blue defense. All right, so my thing, Ryan, is that I don't play the Cell chain. I agree that a 30k Beater is very powerful, but Bloodlust players will make sure that you don't have a 30k out on the board, period. If they have the Bloodlust, they won't allow you to bring out that 30k Beater. The way it normally works is that they will essentially just negate you at 5 when you drop the 5-drop, and then they'll just remove it the next turn with any removal they run. And that's how games normally play out, so. Wait, one moment, guys.
Thank you.
But yeah, guys, so that's basically how that works, I'm gonna move down and answer a few more questions. Shiny Gamer, I would fly to Toledo, but Dragon Ball FighterZ is coming out tomorrow, and I pre-ordered it, so I'm getting my pre-order bonus no matter what. Honestly, just enjoy, like, whatever you want to play, whatever you want to do. Like right now, Dragon Ball FighterZ, it's an amazing game. I played already. I definitely tried it out. I want to get serious in that, so I might really go, like really dive in it. But we'll see what happens, because like managing time is definitely one thing that we all got to get better at, and that's something that I'm working on personally. So moving forward, the Commander, where are the where are the tits? Well, yeah, those are not there right now. Maybe if I have some more women on the channel, we might have a little something there. You know what I'm saying? But have you ever heard of that Cell deck with Zamatsu? Yes, I did, Eddie Alejandro. I did. I actually saw the player. I don't know him personally, but I believe he's from Bearded Team, and he did very well.
Okay.
He did very well in the event, and that's something that he was able to top, right? So a very interesting build, deck type, and it was effective. He basically stalled. The whole point of the deck was to stall you out. Like, you thought it would be like the Cell chain, so he would like place as energy as cards that you wouldn't suspect. And then as the game is progressing, you're like, you don't know what to do, because he's not really dropping threats. He's just dropping filtering cards to just try to ramp up, and then he just drops the 10-drop Zamatsu, and it's like, hold that L real quick. That's how that game went down. Mono blue Zamatsu milling with the black engine sounds cool. I don't know how effective that will be, because Zamatsu doesn't really have a milling effect other than the once he's awakened, which that is pretty nice. You literally get 5 cards per damage, but you got to realize that once you're awakened at that point, you're on a clock. it's like a timer, so to speak. So you can't really abuse an effect like that because you're literally losing. So it's like you're gaining resources in your discard pile, but you're also losing. So it's a little iffy. And you might mill out the black cards that you need in your hand. That's why I tell players, like right now, people were like, oh, I want to use the cooler leader. And I was like, the cooler leader is cute because it'll get you a discard pile. It'll help you gain a discard pile. But the big flaw with that leader is that you don't know what you're milling off your deck. As opposed to, let's say, playing a leader like Trunks, when you combo cards that are comboed go to the discard pile, you know exactly what you're losing. You know what resources you're losing. So I could purposely just set it up, combo, discard, combo, discard, and then on my turn, on my following turn or whenever, I can just free play a guy. You get what I'm saying? And I know exactly what I'm putting into the discard pile. Let's say Mecha Frieza, for example. You're using all those extra cards, they go straight to the discard pile. Now you free play a guy. You get what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be crafty in how you're gonna utilize these tools, because just having a leader that just mills you off, it's inconsistent. You'll have the discard pile to play these guys, but it's inconsistent in the manner which you do so. So just try to, like, I guess, take what I said, you know, with as a grain of salt or whatever. But that's fair. I did love your new list for Cell. Thank you. Looks very consistent. I believe in you, man. You got this next event. I'm gonna try, bro. I'm really, I don't know if I'm playing Cell, but whatever I do play, I'm gonna go ham with it. You know, I just gotta like, I gotta put myself, because I was telling players this, if you play extremely smart and you really put yourself way ahead of your opponent, it doesn't matter if they top deck or get some kind of luck. So you gotta, like me, I felt like my game, I was ahead of my opponent, but not much ahead. So a top deck essentially allowed him to get over me. Had I been much ahead, the top deck wouldn't have mattered, if that makes sense. So I need to make sure that the game state is at a point where I'm just way ahead of my opponent, so I don't have to worry about any like luck factor. And that's what I'm gonna try to do for next event. I'm gonna try to stay way ahead of every opponent I play against. Moving forward. Also, who's gonna be your fourth horseman? I honestly, like the four horsemen is just basically my group, which is Eric, Eon, Jonathan, and myself. But like we have other like teammates on our group, and it's like we have like a division. So like I'm actually gonna start up a team that's strictly based on All About You on this channel. So it will literally, like similar to like Kitchen Table Meta or Pro Play Games, they have their own core team, and then like you might have friends and other teams outside of that group. That's what's gonna happen with this. So I'm gonna start like sponsoring a team for my channel. I just gotta like kind of calculate expenses and see how much money I have to put towards the channel, because I love this game. You guys already know, you know, anyone watching my content right now has a love for the game, and people who are not watching have love for the game. It's just some may not like me or they're busy right now. So the reality is, it's like, depending on how serious you want to get with this game, if you really want to take it to the next level, you're gonna have to invest your time, your money, and effort. You know, those are three important factors that you have to invest in. And I'm prepared to do that. You know, I was really dedicated in Naruto at one point, which is why I was able to win quite a few championships, like the biggest events. And I was able to top every event I attended. You know, I was a consistent topper if I didn't win. And I was always going into the top 2, top 4 bracket. You know, in this game, I've been kind of getting bubbled out after the top 32. I've been getting eliminated. So I have to like really step it up, so that whether it's luck or not, I have to make sure that I excel over the other players. And that's kind of what we're all trying to do. You know, we're all trying to get to a point, whether it's a skill level or, you know, have a deck that has an advantage over other players, regardless who you go up against. But moving forward, how about you stop scrubbing at events? And what's up, LD? Just kidding. Serious question. What do you think will happen to the DBS CCG now that the show is canceled? Honestly, I don't think anything is gonna happen. The show and the card game has its own entities. Those are like separate divisions, if that makes sense. It's like the card game can only do better by having the show available, but it's already on its own. It doesn't need the show to continue. You don't need the show to continue the card game. But you know, it's gonna, I believe it's actually gonna kind of help the game a little bit, because now people, instead of just being consumed about the show, like worried about the show, you're gonna have people that if they really miss the show, they're gonna really, like, other players are gonna want to play the card game. You know, like, it's an effect where you now don't have the show to like really, you know, keep track of. So you're gonna just like focus more on now the things you can focus on. So the card game, I think, is a good way to utilize that. You know, moving forward. Hey Jeffy's World, how's it going? The draft box got confirmed for UK for February. That's good. That's great. You know, that's something that I feel like it's gonna, you guys are gonna be, we're all gonna be set in this. So this is great. We just got stuff to look forward to, right? Hey, say bro, I guess I'm doing a live later too, playing with my wife. That's good, Saint Kingdom. Go for it. And I enjoyed your pack opening. The one thing I will say is make sure that you have the camera focused on all the cards that are revealed. So like I noticed that there was like a cutout point when I saw your wife, like, you know, laying down the cards. The camera wasn't showing all the cards, so it was like I saw like majority of them, but there was some like left out of the, you know, like cropped out essentially. So just make sure that you have everything in the video, and you don't have to speed through it. If you want, you can maybe do a little talk about each card so that people have an understanding that want to get into the game. You know, I believe that anyone doing a card pack openings or box openings, case openings, they should discuss a little bit on the cards so that players, new people that are coming into the scene will be like, oh, this is something I need to look out for. Like, this is a card I need to utilize. So if I catch this in my pack, I should put it aside because it's a useful, you know, useful card. So just be mindful when you're doing pack openings in that manner. Let's keep going. Ryan Phillips, I think this is the best TCG I've ever played. It's very skill-based with some luck. I agree. It's one of my favorite TCGs so far up to date. I still say that Naruto, in my opinion, was the best as far as game mechanic-wise, but I definitely see Dragon Ball like being right after that, in my opinion. It does take a lot of skill. This game does eliminate a lot of the luck factor. The luck factor is still there because I ended up losing to a luck factor, but it definitely is minimized. I can say that much. Like I said, man, win the next event and I'll make a video that's all about you. Bro, I'm gonna try my best, son. I really want to see you make a video where it's like Goku or Vegeta like just goes in on Jiren, like Vegeta. Since you already made us like Vegeta, I want to see that. I want to see something in that manner. So I'm gonna go in. It's that moment where Vegeta goes in on Jiren and he gives him that kick. You know, maybe we could do something like that. So I gotta beat that. I gotta beat PPG. You know, you guys, if any of you guys are watching this video, or if you do watch this video after it's done, you know, just know that I'm coming for you. You know, you guys are good, and I've already beaten 2 of your teammates. You know, right now I have 2 wins and 1 loss overall. That's my score bracket. So we'll see what happens in the future. I second that. If I could only play one TCG, then it would be this one. Yeah, I agree, Shiny Gamer. This game is very good. It allows you to really like have some good critical thinking, and it really, the way the game is played, it really allows you to kind of like play based on how your opponent plays. Like, there's enough interaction where whatever move your opponent does, that makes your decision. That will make your decision. So like if I see my opponent play a certain battle card on the board, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna have to do this instead, just to get rid of that battle card, just to get over that obstacle. So the game state is constantly changing. You know, it's like a little cubicle, which one of my teammates, Eon Hill, has said that before. It's like the game is constantly like, it's like the complexity of the game is constantly like morphing. So you just gotta get into that right situation where you can fully take advantage of your opponent. But moving forward, and thank you all for tuning in. I see more people joining in. Let's go. We are a little behind with products, haha. Bro, don't worry. You know, right now, if you need any products, definitely check out Pro Play Games. You know, those are my boys. You know, even though they're my competition, and you know, you can easily go on Troll and Toad or different websites that, you know, have stuff. I mean, I can give you an edge on where to, you know, look towards. This might be a stupid question, but where are you? I'm at work, and there's no stupid question. You guys want to ask some random stuff? Go for it. You know, let's just you know. But I want to keep the conversation more towards regionals. But if you have any other questions, I'll answer them. Eddie Alejandro, will you do openings on set 3? Absolutely. I'm gonna go back to doing box openings so I can actually give analysis while I'm doing those openings, because that's what I like doing. I like letting you guys know why cards are good and why cards are not good, you know. And if I say a card is bad, it doesn't mean you're bad, okay guys? Like, I just want to eliminate that, because I feel like I don't want to go too PG-13 on y'all where I have to be like, oh, all cards are good, all cards are great. Like, no, if a card is trash, it's trash. That's it. Like, there's nothing above that, nothing below that. That's it. But moving forward, who did you beat? I beat your boy Alejandro, Eddie, and Marcel. Right now we're tat for tit, if that makes sense, or tit for tat. So yeah, that's basically it. I haven't played you, Captain, so we definitely got to see that. But yeah, when I played basically in almost every event except for one, I played one of you guys, at least one of you guys. Going on, Ryan Phillips. The captain's here. Yeah, he's here. He's here. I'm listening, seeing if you got any questions to ask me. Saying Kingdom, if I had money, I would bet on you. Thanks a lot for your advices. That was my first. Thank you. Thanks a lot. You know, I try. I try, you know, like I enjoy this game. I like trash talking to an extent. You guys already know that, following my content, seeing me on the Facebook groups, even to the point where I got like kicked off the Facebook group for a few months. But you know, that's just who I am. I like competition, and you know, I like saying that I'm the best, so I have to back it up, right? You know, if you feel like you're good at something, you should feel like you're the best, you know? Now, if you clearly know you're not the best, then, you know, you may not want to go that route, but it's just always something to keep in mind, you know? Always keep yourself, keep humble, but also give yourself enough props when you're playing so that you can constantly better yourself. You know, you're not in competition with anyone, you're really in competition with yourself. That's what I firmly believe. And if you look into martial arts or other different fields, that's what they'll teach you. You know, it's like, it's not about you, it's not about other people, like competing against other people. You're like constantly competing against yourself. But moving forward, what's up, young Batman? Here's a tip for regionals. Bring hella snacks and water. Absolutely, what young Batman said, you need it, because the food situation is terrible, guys. That's one thing I wanted to like talk about a little bit. When you're prepping up for a regional, like young Batman said, make sure you bring snacks, make sure you bring water. You got to keep hydrated. In between rounds, if you finish quickly, then you can go and grab yourself an actual lunch, unless you already have like sandwiches or something packed away. But that's very important, because like regionals, I love them, and I say that ARG is doing a great job with them, but they need to improve on that whole food situation. That's just something they need to do without a doubt. You know, because it's draining, and I feel like it kind of doesn't allow players to play their best game. If I'm starving and it's like round 6, round 7, and I couldn't get any food because I'm playing against like really competitive players, and I'm not able to finish fast, because I can't finish fast unless I get scooped up fast, or unless my opponent gets scooped up. So it's like, essentially, if I'm playing against someone good, I'm stuck. I'm gonna be going back and forth with that person. Even if I 2-0 them, those are gonna be like hard 2-0s. So overall, just make sure that you're like mentally prepared, and make sure you have food prepped away, like young Batman said. I hope we finally convinced you to return to the Prince's Speed. Well, Eddie, you might be getting me there. You might be getting me back to my roots. So I will definitely thank you if I go that route. That's definitely a route that I've been considering. So I think the Prince of All Saiyans needs to return again. And Marcel, you know, if you see this video, you've been killing it. And of course, you, Captain, you've been killing it. You guys been repping Vegeta, which I'm proud of you guys. You guys been kicking ass and taking names. And you guys are making pro play games. You guys are really building that brand. So I'm pretty sure George Machado, he's proud of you guys. Because if it wasn't for you guys, that, you know, at least in the Dragon Ball section, it wouldn't be a thing. Like George, he's good, but you guys are the better players of the team, hands down. You know, it is what it is. Like I told Marcel, and I told Alejandro, and I told Peter, I was like, yo, that's Jiren, Topo, and Dispo. Like that's right there, the squad right there. And then of course, you know, Captain, you're right in there with them, but they got the wins. They got like they got championships under their belt. So moving forward, I faced Marcel's deck in the finals at my locals yesterday and beat it. You really have to pay attention against that deck. I agree. The only issue is that it's against the player. Remember this, guys. It's not so much the deck, because I'm not gonna lie, Marcel's deck is okay. You know, I actually built a similar variant a long time ago, and it was like maybe about an 8-card difference, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't like how it played. Then he comes and plays a deck very similar to that, but his own style, with like really revolving around Champa heavy, and he's able to almost win the event with it. Like, you got to realize Marcel is the player that's piloting that deck, and that's why it's really good. If you give that deck to someone else, yeah, it might do decently, but it's not the same as like sitting across from the guy who is very good at the game and you're playing against them. So it's not so much the deck, it's the player. And that's why, like, this game, it really rewards skill. So like having an understanding and knowledge of the game, it will promote it literally will promote a better situation for you. It'll allow you to really outdo other players and perform extremely well. So just remember that, because I know a lot of players are always asking for deck lists, and that can help elevate your gameplay so you can have an understanding of how to build decks, but it's not gonna necessarily win you anything. Like, your skill is what's gonna win you. That's why when some people, like, I have some players that they'll send me messages and they'll ask me for help, and then they'll say, oh, I won my local with your help. And I was like, you won your local with guidance from me, but it was you that won the locals. I didn't play for you. I didn't sit down and play for you. You know, I do like this thing that's kind of funny at my locals, at some of the locals I go to, because a lot of people don't really like me. And it's not that they have anything personal against me, it's just that I win literally majority of the time I go. Like, I kid you not. And so, like, on the locals that some of them I go, like, I'll literally be like, hey, I got here late, who wants me to win the tournament? And I'll say that, but not like being cocky or whatever. It's just I want a challenge. So if you think I can't win, then you got to beat me. So like there'll be some players that would be like, you know what, sure, whatever. And they'll have me enter, but then you have another group of players that they're like, you know what, like that's so unfair. And it is kind of unfair, but it's just like, you know, if you want to get better at this game, you got to constantly play people that are either better than you or at least around your skill bracket if you consider yourself a good player. But moving forward, how was slow play handled? I saw the new rule, giving 1 minute to search and shuffle. It was handled well, Shaggy. It wasn't bad. I have to say that my matches only one went into time, so it wasn't a problem. You know, they were all good. And, you know, I feel like overall was handled very well. You just got to be careful, you know, when you're playing against certain people that you don't know. That goes for everyone. You know, when you enter a tournament, you're not going to know everyone. So just keep in mind, you know, pay attention to your opponent, pay attention to how long they're taking. Look at the timer. They have a timer literally like wherever it doesn't matter where you're seated at. There's a timer straight across, like towards where the judge seating area is at and where Jim and the crew is at, basically. So always keep in mind, pay attention. If you notice your opponent is so playing, raise your hand. That's it. No disrespect to your opponent. Don't feel afraid or don't feel like, oh, you don't want to be that guy. Because I know some players, like when I talk to them, like even Eon Hill, like he is a relatively known player at this point. The Hill twins, they're known in this community. And they sometimes don't call judge when they should. Like Eon now started calling judge for everything now, but there was a time when he wasn't, and he was basically putting himself at a disadvantage, because it's like if you know your opponent's doing something like slow playing or doing things that look shady, call the judge right off the rip. Like, don't feel afraid to do that, because it's still a competition. Everyone wants to win, you know. People like to have fun, like I like to have fun, and I'll even talk during my gameplay. Peter Katani's known for like having a real fun, chilled game with his opponents. But at the end of the day, I'm seated across from you to beat you, not to you know, go through this formality. You know, you wanna be nice to the person, but you also want to make sure that the game is being played fair. So just always keep that in mind, and always make sure that you're on top of those things as a player. Young Batman, what separates the goods from the greats in this game? Because these pro players like Eddie, Marcel, and Peter have to know something I don't. Honestly, what separates, I guess, the good from the greats, or the decent from the good, however you perceive us and what bracket you see us in, is the knowledge of the game. Knowing card advantage. Card advantage is very crucial, guys. That's why you should always know how many cards is in your opponent's hands at practically all times. Don't overextend. Never overextend. Count up the key cards. Like, for example, if I'm playing against a deck with blue in it, I know they run Sensu Bean. I know they run the free 10k boost Piccolo. I already know certain cards from just being a good player. You already know what they're running. Like, I could literally play against anyone, and I know what more than half your deck I know basically more than half your deck. So I'm literally, if I look at your discard pile, I'm remembering exactly what you played, what you placed in energy. I'm literally like analyzing the whole game. You know, now I'm not gonna say I'm paying attention to the whole game at the same time, but I'm always paying attention to key moments in the game. If I see you use Sensu Bean and I see 2 more Sensu Beans in the discard pile, I'm gonna assume that you're like me and I consider you good. I'm always going to assume my opponent is good. So I'm going to assume that you run 4 Sensu Bean. And I'm going to be like, all right, he has Sensu Bean, so I'm going to play according to that. So I'll attack, see what you ditch out. I see you ditch out another random 5k, I'll attack again, see what you ditch out. If I don't see you ditch out a Sensu Bean at that point, in my mind, you just don't have it. Or you're bad, you know, no offense. You know, I'm not saying you as a person is bad, but I'm saying your skill, or as a player, you're not as good as you may think you are if you're wasting unnecessary resources. Because again, this game requires resource management. So with that being said, it's like, I'm just calculating what you're doing in gameplay. That's all I'm doing. I'm like seeing exactly what you play, and then I'm just seeing what cards are available for you to use. So if I know I haven't used any of my 10k boosts, but I forced you to use 2 or 3 of them, I have a huge advantage, because now if I'm ever going for game, or if I'm ever going for a push, you don't have those extra resources that I have, because I forced you to burn them. You got what I'm saying? Like, it's just things like that. I mean, I can go really in depth, but I don't want to take too long with this question. So moving forward, what is a good indication of slow play? So for example, let's say it's the start of my turn, right? I renew all my stuff, everything's in active mode, I draw a card. So now, I'm looking at my hand, I'm like, okay, I'm deciding my move. If someone is taking more than like 15 seconds, that should already alert a red flag in your head. Like, while your opponent while it's their turn, the way the game should be played, and I'm gonna go from like a pro perspective, the way the game should be played is, you should already have an idea of what you're gonna do during your opponent's turn. So like during my opponent's turn, I'm paying attention to what he's doing, but I'm also analyzing what's my next play. Now, if he does something that shifts the game state, now I'm already analyzing what I need to do. And I'm already thinking, damn, shit, I think I need another card. So if I draw this card, I'm gonna do this instead. So if I do draw on my turn, when I draw for my turn, I know if I didn't draw that card, I already know the play I'm gonna make. If I did draw the card, then I already know what new play I'm gonna make. But don't get me wrong, sometimes nervousness does kick in, and you know, you allow your opponent like 15, 20 seconds. If you notice that they're taking beyond that, you gotta let your opponent know. The first thing I do is, hey bro, we gotta move faster. Like, I was playing against a really cool, chill dude. I forgot his name, but I'm gonna have it in the upcoming video. He had like braids, and he was playing a starter Goku deck. I felt like he was nervous. When he was playing against me, I felt like he was nervous. So he started taking some time. I knew he wasn't slow playing me on purpose, but the same results of slow playing occurred. He was taking too long on his turns. And you know, I felt like, you know, he was like he dropped something and then he took it back, and I was like, cool, like it's all good, you know. And I think one time I did that, you know, I played an energy and I was like, you know what, I'm not playing that energy. I like put it down, and then I immediately took it right back up. So, you know, if you notice that your opponent's nervous, it happens. You know, we're all human. You know, it's you know, so this might be your first time playing against a known player, or this might be your first time at an event. You don't know the circumstance, but at the end of the day, again, you got to be mindful of what's in your better interest and what's the better interest of both players. You know that if it's this slow playing involved, it's going to hurt both of you, because it could have meant that a point where your opponent could have won, now they can't win because they took too long on their turns, or vice versa. When you could have won, they took too long, and now you're going into time unnecessarily. So, you know, you warn your opponent. That's what I do. I'll say like, hey bro, you got to play a little faster, you know? And then I'll give my opponent a second warning. Once I give you a second warning, if you're still slow playing, even if you're cool and I'm cool with you, I'm gonna raise my hand for judge, you know, and I'm just gonna tell the judge, you know, like, hey bro, my opponent is slow playing. He might be nervous, he might be whatever, but at the end of the day, you know, we gotta make sure the game is moving. You know, it's moving at an adequate amount of speed, you know, an adequate pace, you know. But moving forward, Eddie is right now responding to young Badman's questions. Is exactly what you said. Number one, be knowledgeable about all the cards currently released, and number two, always be in control. Exactly what Eddie just said. It's important to always be in control as best as you can. That won't always happen, because sometimes you won't draw the cards that will allow you to gain control, while your opponent may draw those cards. So like, if your opponent is up and they have an advantage, you really got to play a tight game. You got to constantly see what you can do to kind of knock their advantage down without giving up any more of your own advantage. Because once the game shifts at once the game becomes one-sided, pack that game up. Like, that game is going to be at a total loss. You know, like early on in the game, you're establishing control for what's going on. Even if you're an aggro deck, you still are calculating what's the control factor on your part. You're not going to be recklessly aggro, because you're going to give your opponent resources. Like I said with Kaba, someone asked me a question earlier with, how do I play Kaba? Kaba is not the type where you just drop him and you swing in. You just don't do that. Unless there's a play that you have stored in your mind that you can gain an advantage, you won't do that play, because you're literally just saying, hey, opponent, I'm going to give you 2 cards to your hand and I'm only taking 1 to hand. Here's some advantage. Now you're closer to awakening. Here, now push my shit in. You got what I'm saying? Like, you're giving your opponent an advantage to try to beat you, and you don't want to do that, you know? Moving forward, what do you think about the new black cards? I think they're phenomenal. Most of them are actually pretty good. Some players are not actually seeing what's going on with them. I heard a lot of people say the only good ones are Trunks and Bardock. There's other good ones, but you know, I'm not going to get into a whole discussion. Wait 1 second, guys. Wait 1 moment. Hi, how's it going? But yeah, so as I was, oh, there's another person. Wait 1 second, guys, I just have some trafficking. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
No, Alana lives here.
Elena, what apartment?
I don't really know. But
Did-
she said she's coming downstairs to pick me up. I'm just wondering if it's the right building.
What building number is it? 92 Green? Because this one is 92 Green.
Yeah, 92 Green.
All right, so then you're good.
Okay.
Just, yeah, you could just relax and, but, all right, guys, so, you know, just keep the questions coming, and I'll just keep answering them as I go along. So, like, overall, I don't see any questions left right now, but, you know, overall, when you're going to these events and you're practicing, just have an idea of what the format is like. We already know what the format is. We know that Vegeta is very optimal in this meta. He does have some rough matchups against the Cell Chain, but we know that Goku Starter can check the Cell Chain. We know that Frieza, Mecha Frieza can check the Cell Chain. Those are poor matchups for that deck. So, you know, overall, you want to make sure that when you're playing something, it's good overall. That's why in this last tournament, we didn't really see many Cell Chain decks, because a lot of them, they get beaten out very quickly against the format. So you gotta like have an understanding of what you're gonna need to play and how to play against these other decks that are viable. Now, you know, right now I'm working on my version of Cell, which is going to no longer be tricolor. It's going to incorporate a lot of the black cards in it, since that is basically, they're free. You know, you can't argue with free. Free is amazing. Anytime you have cards that come into play for free, those are very crucial in gaining advantage on your opponent. That's how people gain advantage. They play multiple free cards, and those free cards start adding up into value. And when you start adding that value, you're able to take control of the game, and you're able to really vanquish a lot of your opponent's resources. Going down, we want consequences. Can I PM you my Cell list on Facebook? Absolutely. You know, go for it. If you want, you could PM me now, and then I'll get back to you a little later. Zed Sun Kenobi, I hope I didn't butcher your name, but I feel Cell is still viable. Kano's build in Las Vegas was smart with a lot of his main and side deck choices. Absolutely. Like, again, the Cell chain is good because it beats a lot of these decks like Vegeta, but the problem is that against Mecha Frieza, the Cell deck can beat it. Don't get me wrong, the Cell deck can beat them, but it's a really grind out match, and it relies on you. It relies on me not having certain answers to you. So for example, if I open up with like 2 Cold Bloodlusts, that's already a problem for the matchup for you, because your best play is dropping big Cell. That's just how the deck performs. It's very linear in what the best plays are. There's a few other side plays that you can run, like Kales. You can run Gohan's, the one that pops, you know, cards from board. You know, you have other cards that you can utilize, even the androids, so to speak. But again, like I said before, they're very weak in that deck. They're very strong in the androids build, but they're very weak in the Cell lineup. You know, so you just got to realize that when you're playing those matchups, you're playing at a disadvantage. And if your opponent does open up the answers, you pretty much lose, as long as your opponent understands how to play against you. You know, like people that are not on your level, you know, that are still learning the game and, you know, inexperienced, you could still beat those players. But if once you start going up to the top brackets, like in regionals, once you hit round 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, when you're going in the later bracket, you're going to be playing against people who know how to play. You know, it's no longer so-called scrubs or people that are inexperienced. The inexperienced players are the ones that lose round 1, 2, 3, 4. And then once you hit that 5 is like that magical number where players start accelerating. You start playing against known players, you know, like for example, you know, myself, Pro Play Games, you know, a lot of the top teams, we're already in the top bracket. So now we got to compete against one another. So now, you know, it's like, now it's Marcel against me, you know, and now you have like a lot of the bigger players going at it, and someone's going to lose unless the game goes into a draw. So moving forward, Jay-Z Lee 100. Speaking of advantage, I've noticed destruction cards have a lot more impact in the game and compared to others, because this game doesn't have many cards that special summon from deck or grave. Yes, that's why card advantage is extremely important. And it's basically like you're worried more about what you can do in gameplay in terms of how many free cards you can drop, because of what you just said. You can't utilize the discard pile and get like free special summons. You can't get, you know, there's not much free cards in the game. So the free cards that there are, you got to take advantage of them. You know, that's like extremely important to do so. How do I destroy Chris Sock? You're hilarious. How do you destroy Chris Sock? I mean, the same way you would destroy a good player. I mean, when I play Chris Sock, you know, I beat him majority of the games, but he is good. Like just a day or two ago, he beat me. He got me in a tournament. So he's trying to, you know, catch up, but he has a long way too. But he's a very good player. Just wait one moment. One moment, guys. But, you know, so it's just really getting to know how to, you know, how the game works and understanding card advantage, because right now we're in a situation where maybe in the future decks are going to evolve where they're going to be more focused on discard pile or focused on like summoning from the deck. But at this moment, it's mainly about how many cards you have in your hand. If you, like against Marcel, it was a laugh.
Hi!
Hey.
Sorry.
Hey, what's up?
Вот, я вижу, то есть я думала, что мы с вами опять встречаемся. Я вообще все перепутала, как обычно.
Да.
Пойдем.
Я в итоге видишь.
Какие-то шизы у тебя красивые. О май гад.
All right, you girls have fun.
Thank you. У нас, короче, случилась авария с другой стороны. Невозможно.
I have to say, I definitely do have, I like my job. And I can't say I love it, but I do like it. You know, I get to meet a lot of different interesting faces, you know, meet a lot of pretty women that, you know, have successful careers going, and, you know, just stuff overall. But like I was saying, you know, if you guys keep, you know, asking me questions, I'm gonna stop this video in like the next 10 minutes. So we're gonna keep going strong for 10 minutes. Any questions you have, ask away. Like, start piling down the questions so that we can get to, you know, you can get your final understandings of how to get better at this game and how to prep up for these regionals. But like I said before, you know, players like Chris Saad, players like PPG, and others involved, like, the reason why these players are good is because they understand advantage. And when you understand advantage in a card game, it allows you to accelerate your gameplay. Because you may not know all the cards in the game. Like right now, someone coming from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic or any of these other games, if they were top players in those card games, they already have an edge over a lot of you players that have already been playing. You know, you might be able to beat them in the beginning, but they're gonna quickly accelerate because they already know what to look for while they're in actual gameplay. While you just know the cards, but you don't know how to utilize these cards in the most efficient manner. So like in this channel, you know, I want you guys to have an understanding of how to utilize those resources so that you can always maintain an edge over your opponent. You know, and that's kind of like the whole point of why I'm like really competitive, in the sense where I want players to really get as good as possible. And that's why I even advocate for meetups. If you live around the area, you can come down and, you know, test play against me so you can see what I mean. I can talk to you about it, but to actually see it in person, it's a different story. How do you prep for a big tournament? Well, Jay-Z Lee, I practice against usually Jonathan Tavares, which is one of the team members that I have in my group. I'll go to a few locals here and there. I don't prize myself on locals because locals has the competition isn't that high here. I'll admit that. Like Florida right now has the better competition, so when they're playing against a lot of players, they're constantly playing against a lot of good players. Here it's okay, you know. I won't say we have bad players, but we don't have like top-notch players. We only have a few of those, you know, which is primarily on the team and a few people outside of this team. That's about it. So when it comes down to it, it's like, it's not easy to accelerate gameplay. So I'm always worried about, again, myself. I'm trying to improve my own gameplay. So I'm test playing my decks. I'm already noticing what works and what doesn't work. And it's not based on my opponent, it's based on me, you know? So I play based on myself. I'm not playing based on my opponent. Again, what I was telling you guys before, if you treat the game about not beating your opponent, but just making sure that you're getting better yourself, then you'll perform even better because you already have an understanding of what your opponent's best play is. See, like when you're sitting on against your across from your opponent against them, you can analyze what they're playing. Let's say they're playing blue-green Vegeta. What is their best play on turn one? Well, their best play on turn one is to play a Majin Buu, right? Or play a Broly if they're running the hand destruction engine. Their next best play on turn two, maybe objection if they run objection. Or playing 2 1-drops, a Broly and a Buu, or a Buu and Buu. You know, like, it's about stacking up now resources, going through your deck quickly so you can get the main cards you need, while still critting themselves and adding pressure on me. That's their best play. Now, things start shaking up after like turn 2 or turn 3, depending, you know. But Red-Blue, for example, Red-Blue Vegeta operates differently because they have access to Kaba. So that means that they can awaken quicker. A Vegeta player can now awaken, instead of on turn 4, they can awaken on turn 3. And if they have double Kaba and like a free play Trunks that renews the energy, they can awaken on 1. You get what I'm saying? Like, they could do some crazy plays if they got more resources to utilize. So that's just an idea. All right. Moving forward, I'll hit you up on Facebook, but we definitely need to meet up to get some games in, need to get ready for Charlotte. Yes, you know, Charlotte, you guys gotta prep up with players that you know that are good. You know, if you live in Florida, play against PPG, play against those guys. See what kind of decks they're brewing, see what kind of decks they're building. You know, that's your goal. If you live in New York, play against myself, play against Chris Sock, play against the Hill Twins, play against people that you know perform well at tournaments. That's how you get better at this game. You got to play the people that are winning, you know, or play the people that are doing very well at events. That's how you get better. You very well can be the best player, Jay-Z Lee. You just gotta beat the best to be the best, you know? That's as pretty simple as that. So you gotta accelerate your own gameplay, learn the mistakes you're making, improve on them, get comfortable with a deck that you know is either the meta or anti-meta, and run with it. Ruben, how's it going, boy? It's been a while. Question, would the pieces for a Champa deck still be effective in today's format? Absolutely. Champa is a viable leader. I'm shocked no one wants to play him. You know, I wanted to win with Cell, but that's the only reason why I didn't play Champa or played Vegeta or, you know, leaders of that fashion. I had like this clear-cut image of me winning with a deck that I created. You know, I'm known in communities, any card game that you see me involved in, I'm known for designing formats. You know, I'll create a deck and it becomes part of the meta or it becomes the main meta. You know, so that's what I'm good at. You know, so I really wanted that deck to win, but you know, PPG, they're forced to be working with, and you know, luck wasn't on my side that day. So it is what it is. Moving forward, I'm definitely gonna beat you and Sock and the Twins. NY is gonna be mine someday. I mean, it might be. You know, I don't know if it's gonna be soon because I ain't losing soon. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, I want to still remain as being the best player in New York. You know, that's my thing. I have to keep building my resume to stay above everyone else in New York. But aside from that, you know, anything is possible. You just got to be dedicated. Like I said, a lot of these guys, Marcel, he plays on Octagon super often. So he's already ahead of a lot of people, even on his own team, because he's constantly practicing. The guy goes to school, doesn't work, and plays card games. That's what he does. You know, we had a small little chit chat, and we were just talking about fun ideas, and he was just kind of giving me the rundown of who he is as a player and as a person outside of the game. That matters. Who you are outside of the game also translates to who you will be in this game. If you're someone that is constantly busy and you got other things going on, you're constantly drinking, you have other activities, you're doing things that are obviously conflicting in this game, you're not going to be able to be that good in this game. But if you're someone that is, quote unquote, has enough free time and you can devote a lot of it to this game, you will be good. You know, it depends on what you want out of life. You know, if this is a hobby you take seriously, then, you know, put in the hours, put in the time, travel, spend the money, go to events, play the best, become the best. That's how it is. And it may not happen right away because not many players have an aptitude for getting good at card games. Not many players do. You know, like same way with gaming or same way with anything in life. Not many people can be doctors. Not many people could be lawyers and retain much information. So, you know, you have to have an aptitude to an extent to become that good. But you could be like a Rock Lee, which is essentially someone who really trains hard and they eventually get their skill level up, you know, through endurance, through constantly practicing, through, you know, losing, you know, believe it or not, losing until they finally win, then you can get good like that. That's how some players, they break that aptitude and they like go beyond the limits, you know. I don't want to sound cheesy like this is like some Dragon Ball Super, you know, this ain't no anime, but, you know, essentially that's what we're playing, right? You know, so moving forward, you're welcome, Ruben. Not once, but consistently. Well, Jay-Z Lee, you know, we'll see. We'll see if you will get to that point. I mean, I can say that anything you put your mind to, you can, you know, but you got to realize that I'm also someone that's thinking the same way you are. I'm still thinking about becoming the best. Even if I already believe I am, I'm still thinking about becoming the best. So I always have a goal, you know, and since I haven't taken a regional yet, in my mind, obviously, there's so much improvement to go through, you know, so me as a player, that's where I'm at. You know, topping isn't good enough. You know, topping, I do that I could do that almost with, I won't say any deck, but I can do that without too much struggle. You know, it's winning. Winning is the hard part because you're also going against, like, once you hit those top tables, you're going against people that are as good as you or maybe not as good as you, but they're close to your skill gap. Like the guy that I played in top 32, he was a good opponent, but my skill gap was above him, but he was still able to beat me because it's not like I'm way above him. You know, it's not like this, you know, it's more like this, if that makes sense. You know, so moving forward, you're welcome, Ruben. Jay-Z Lee, that's gonna be my thing. Absolutely. Whenever you're free, I'll hit you up and we can practice. I got better since the last time we played. That's good. I'm glad, you know. Maybe you'll break a sweat this time, right? You'll make me break a sweat. But moving forward, I've dominated VG in my area, Vanguard in my area, DBS is next. Hey. Then that's the next one, right? Let's go. I have good aptitude towards the game, but my deck building skills is straight garbo. LOL. Well, if you have great aptitude for the game, then what you can do is make sure that you're getting with people that you are friends with and that play the game, that are dedicated to the game, and have them help you deck build. And like, for example, like a lot of people, you know, a lot of people have egos, for one, but when you kind of give into someone, like when you acknowledge someone being good at something or even better than you, then they're more willing to help. And that's kind of like a weird scenario, but like I even have that with my teammates. Like my teammates, they'll believe that they're the best, and they're not the best by records, but they'll believe that. And so sometimes it creates a crutch. But then when you acknowledge someone that's better than you or that is doing, that's outperforming in certain ways, then you're able to get their input and you're able to elevate your gameplay. So like right now, again, the guys that are like pro play games, if you guys live in Florida and you want to become very good at that, see what makes them good. See what makes them good. Is it deck building? Is it the way they play? You know, talk to them. Actually have talks with them. Like the way you guys have talks with me, talk to them if you're around that area. With me, you can PM me, you know, you can send me messages on Facebook. We can talk. You know, if you have a problem with the game, a problem understanding certain things, let me know. You know, now I'm not always going to be free, so I may not respond immediately, but I will respond, you know. And if you live in New York or you're not too far, if you live in Jersey or you live in Pennsylvania, come down here. If you take the game seriously, hit me up. Let me know, hey, Ant, when are you free? I'll drive from where I'm at. I'll come down over there to play test with you. That's what Pat O'Neill does. You know, Pat O'Neill, he understands the game, but he's still improving as a player. You know, we literally played like 10 games straight, and you know, he learned. But I spanked him all 10 games. You know, but that's how you learn. You can lose, and then when you play other people, you're like, shit, I won, and you're like, damn, I lost so many times to Anthony, but I'm dominating where I'm at. Like, I'm getting much better. So now the players are like, damn, you gotten better. And you're like, well, I'm always playing against Ant, you know. So you know, you're bound to get better when you're playing against someone that is basically like making sure that you play your best, you know. So moving forward, I lost my first 4 tournaments and placed first and top 4 my last 2 locals in Orlando. That's great, bro. That's very good. Did you play any of the pro play game members? And I couldn't make a team. No, I couldn't make a team. I mean, you don't have to make a team. You just got to be involved with people in the community that are dedicated. Again, it doesn't have to be like official team, like, you know, like my group, we have a team, but I'm really going to go in depth and try to build a team even based off this channel, like I was saying earlier, where it's going to have like players like Chris Sock, Sam, these are guys that top these last regionals, and Chris Sock has been very consistent. Like me and him were always topping from New York, and same thing with the Hill Twins. Like, you know, these are the people that are topping consistently. You know, I actually want Eon and Eric to get even more consistent because they're very good players. Some of the most intelligent people I know, but they also have a few flaws in their gameplay, and we all do, but they have a few flaws that they have to improve on, you know, so they can constantly top, you know, because like Eric, he makes top 8. When he tops, he makes top 8, which is impressive. The only problem is that he doesn't top as often as he should. He tops like 50% of the time. So far, that's what the numbers are. Those are the numbers on his side, 50%. But when he does top, he gets far. So imagine if he can increase his topping percentage and still get far. That's amazing. You know, and that's what we want to do as a community. Players just need to start getting more consistent, getting more serious about the game. And again, you could be friendly, you can be nice, you could be all these things, but you gotta, you know, be focused on your match, focused on your opponents, focused on your own game state, you know, when you're playing. I do play against top 32 in Orlando, ARG all the time, the top 8 Trunks guy, and for top 8, 28, they beat me all the time, but barely. They beat you all the time, you said? Oh, but barely. Well, that's good. I mean, if you're getting closer to beating them, that's very impressive. You know, just keep elevating your game, you know, your gameplay. I main androids. Eddie, I will show him the way. but you know, that's it. You know, that's when it comes down. You know, players just gotta, again, accelerate their gameplay. But you know, a lot of my teammates, they're extremely good players. You know, they just gotta become more consistent. Hey. You know, so moving along, I did beat the top 8 guy. That's good, very good. Yep, the way. It's amazing how this Ugandan Knuckles thing exploded, but it's so fun. I think I'm gonna have like some ghost tokens and shit like that, and I have them. Do you know the way? Do you know the way, my brother? But yeah, I took out Kaba and Mighty Mass combo and put more blues. Kept the double strike chompas. That's very good. Wait 1 second, guys.
It's gonna be hard to figure out. I'm going out to G's.
Oh, okay.
Me too.
Go right up.
Thank you.
How's your day? Good?
Good.
That's great. I'll see you later.
Sorry, too, right?
Hmm? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, you know, so that's one thing, you know, just constantly, you know, learning what you need to improve on, and that's gonna help you accelerate your gameplay, you know, and that's what we need. And as a community, you just gotta continually push your limits, you know, and your comprehension of the game in order to get better. But yeah, I refuse to go mecha. Did that lady look as good as she sounded? She's a very mature woman. She's kind of like right now in her late 40s, if I estimated. She looks pretty good. Like the women in my building, they all look good, but they all got money. You know, that's the thing. You know, I wanna be in their position someday. I wanna be able to have like $500,000 in my account or beyond that. You know, don't we all, right? We all gotta improve that. But you know, playing our hobbies and you know, doing what we need to do, we can just keep growing the community. Like you guys are an important part of each other's success. Like we're all helping each other grow. The more people that play this game, the more the game grows. The more the company, you know, makes money, but it allows more people to have opportunities in these type of games. Like pro play games have an opportunity because there's a huge card game community. Had the community been small, there wouldn't be no pro play games. Had the community been small, there wouldn't be professional gamers in this type of field. You know, we have professional gamers in video games, but you know, card games are just as good, if not just, you know, just as big. It's just that as a community, we just gotta like really work on growing this. You know, this is our babies. You know, this is like in a sense, it's a business. You know, so that's why with you guys, you gotta treat it seriously. I know some people are like, oh, this is just a hobby. And it's like whatever, and it is a hobby, but where do you want to take it? Are you going to waste a lot of time playing the game and not really getting good at the game? Because then you don't need to play much. You just play casually. You don't have to worry about traveling. You don't have to worry about anything. You just play with your wife at home, your kids, your friends, whoever's around. But if you want to try to make something out of this, you know, from whatever job you work or whatever career you're in, you can, you know. Same thing with like the YouTube channels. Like I love the fact that, you know, the captain, you know, Eddie, you know, he's doing very good. He just started his YouTube channel. You guys should definitely check it out because he's a very informed player. You know, keep track of all the good players in the community so that you can gain knowledge. You know, soak it up like a sponge, because eventually what's happening is that we're giving you guys the tools to beat us, essentially, which is ironic because someone brought it up to my attention. They were like, Anthony, you're helping us so much that we might actually beat you. And I'm like, well, if you guys can beat me, you do realize that you're going to help me get better at the game. You know, like you